Hi, welcome back to Fresh Faces New Ideas. My name is David. If you're new to this channel or you like this channel and you want to keep up to date with everything that I do, please like and subscribe. Please follow me on Twitter at Faces Ideas. Now, for this video, we're going to talk about Austin because the Austin City Council had a ballot initiative and they have decided to solve homelessness. Kind of. In the dumbest possible way, in probably the least efficient possible way. So we're going to look at that. And keep in mind, I've talked about ballot measures before. Ballot measures, I think, are a good idea because they allow for the people to target specific things that they want the states to deal with, whether it's in Florida, whether it's allowing felons to regain the rights to vote after. Now, let's be clear. It's people who have finished their sentence. They can then get their ability to vote again. Whether it's legalizing marijuana, whether it's expanding Medicare and Medicaid. Things like these are good ballot measures. $15 minimum wage. Things like that are good ballot measures. So I think ballot measures are a good thing. The problem is, and I've discussed this in other videos, is if you have a ballot measure that the people who are in charge don't like, and they can just say, screw you, I'm not going to do it, well, what's the point of having the ballot measure then? You can't pick and choose. You either follow what the ballot measure says because it's there, or you don't. You either have them and follow them out if they pass, because there's bad ones too. The one in California that reinstated that gig workers, like people who work for Uber and stuff, aren't considered real employees. That's a bad ballot measure, and that was passed. And unfortunately, that should be upheld as well. So if you have a ballot measure and it passes, the legislators and the government in that area should do everything in their power to enact the ballot measure that the people voted for. Now, here's the problem. The one in Austin is very dumb. So let's take a look at that. Here we go. Austin voters to decide on restoring rules criminalizing homelessness activities. Now, let's be clear. There is a massive homelessness issue in this country. Huge. California has an issue. I guess Austin has a massive issue in it too. There are many ways to go about it. Criminalizing it is not one of the best ways to fix this. So let's take a look what this does. So this would offer a $500 fine or having police sweep away their belongings. The statewide bans on encampments after 2 years after the Austin City Council rolled back rules affecting unsheltered residents, a new ballot measure, Proposition B, would revert to criminalize camping, panhandling, sitting or lying down on public sidewalks, and sleeping outdoors. Could subject people who already cannot afford housing tickets of $500. So here's what this bill would do. And the only way this is a smart idea is if you say, oh, the homelessness are bad and dangerous, and then you have this idea like Ben Shapiro has, where the poorest don't pay enough of their expenses, so you're going to charge them. So what this bill does is it charges people for being homeless, basically. If you're not in one of the shelters, if you're outside in an encampment, or let's say you can't go into a shelter, or you're sleeping outside, or one of the other things, the police can fine you and they ticket you $500. Now, I have a question for you. If prior to the pandemic, something like 30% of Americans couldn't, and these are where we're talking about like people with jobs and full-time employment and like houses and things and cars, couldn't support a $400 shock, just a surprise $400 fine. What makes you think the fucking homeless, who partly are homeless because if you're in California, there's a good amount of homeless people because they can't afford regular housing on the minimums that they get paid, because what happens in California and across the country is they build these massive tenements and these housing complexes, and then they sell them to these corporations and to foreign investors, and they just park their money in there. So they're just empty housing. We have more housing than we have homeless in this country. We could very easily put them in that housing. But we don't, because these corporations just buy up this housing and they just sit on it because it's easy. It's an easy way to protect an investment and to hide money. So the answer is not, we're going to charge the people. Like, there is nobody in the country who has less anything than homeless people. They are homeless. So your response is, I'm going to charge you $500 for being homeless. At which case, they cannot pay that. So then it's going to go unpaid and lead to arrest warrants. So your solution is we're now going to lock them up, which is going to come back onto the taxpayer and cost more for you to lock them up. So now you're going to criminalize and lock them up. It's also going to lead to more interactions with the police. And as we have seen, there is a problem with police brutality, not just among with African Americans, it's in general. And the more you interact with them, the more likely they're going to believe that they can have the ability to abuse these people. Why? Because there's not a lot of money in advocating for people protecting the homeless. There are absolutely people doing it. The answer is not, let's criminalize the homeless. This is incredibly stupid. This idea that this is a public safety crisis. If you want to deal with homelessness, you have to put more money into mental health, because that's a huge amount of problems. You have to look at housing prices. Why are housing prices so high? You have to look at pay for people. You have to expand shelters. You have to expand the ability for these people to get housing. The answer is not, oh, you're already down, we're going to make you pay us $500 more for whatever meager scraps you can get because we don't like where you live. This is the same thing as when they have anti-homeless architecture where it has spikes, or it's ridged, or it's barred, or they play music all night long. Look, the homeless are an easy target because they don't have any advocate. They have nothing to advocate for because they're homeless. They have nothing there. All right, let's wrap this. Look, the answer to homelessness is not charge them money, because counter to what Ben Shapiro believes, that the poor need to pay more money because they pay no money, they're the poorest people in the country. The idea that charging them will make them go away. The whole point of this is you can't be homeless in this area, so you have to go somewhere else. We'll make it somebody else's problem. That's not how you solve this. You actually have to work on the root cause of the issue. Mental health, housing availability, work shortages, things like that. That's how you solve issues like homelessness, not criminalize it. Because if you solve problems by criminalizing them, well, we wouldn't have any murders. We wouldn't have any drug dealers. We wouldn't have malpractice. We wouldn't have thieves. Like, just because you criminalize an issue, it doesn't go away. Usually by criminalizing an issue, it makes it worse. The war on drugs is a perfect example about it. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't criminalize things. There are absolutely things you should criminalize. Murder, bad. But criminalizing social issues is not how you solve them. Now, please like and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter @FacesIdeas, and I will see you in the next one.